Cody was my brother. But honestly, he was a lot more than that. He was probably my best friend.
He was a contrarian in a lot of ways. I mean, he really looked at life in a very different scope, quieter than Joseph in a lot of ways, but yet more active in different ways.
Cody brought only joy to this world. He would walk into a room unassumingly and just bring joy. That's who he was. He was the personification of joy.
Cody was someone who was incredibly comfortable in his own skin. I mean, the Argyle socks didn't always match, but it was Cody. Cody was someone who never gave up on anyone and always had people's backs.
He had your back. If you didn't have somebody to have your back, he had it for you.
He was his own person. He liked to do what he liked to do, and it didn't matter if his friends came along, his family came along, or the world came along. Cody was Cody, and that was that. When he picked a path, that was the path he was going on.
How privileged am I to have borne him and Joseph, my two greatest accomplishments. There was no one that I have ever met, bar none, age 1 to 101, who was more true to themselves than Cody.
I remember one of his friends once said that Cody was the toughest kid I knew. Even in his senior portrait for the football team, if you look closely, his wrist is in a cast.
I said, I can't believe you're playing. Like, you just got finished with this injury. He said, Dad, 90% of life is your attitude. Don't forget it. And Cody's attitude brought other people together, and his undying spirit of loving other people brought people together.
For most of my life, phones rang in the middle of the night. I didn't really think that much of it, and it was the neurosurgical fellow from UPMC.
It was a Friday night. I remember getting a phone call in the middle of the night, thinking that's weird. It was my mom calling. I was sleeping on my couch. I was like, I'll deal with this in the morning. A few minutes later, I called again. I was like, all right, something's up.
I was sound asleep, and Linda called. She said, I really don't know many of the facts. I just talked to the hospital. And it doesn't look good.
I just remember blasting music and driving way too fast, punching the steering wheel, just in kind of complete disbelief that I was going out to possibly see my brother for the last time.
You know, we saw Cody, and once we saw Cody, we knew we'd never have Cody again.
This was it. Like, these were our last moments with Cody. We had to make some decisions and figure out what Cody would want and what we thought was best.
Cody's birthday is February 9th. And on his birthday, he and I were in the car, coming from somewhere. And I was driving, and he said, Ma, I have to tell you something. I said, what's that? He said, Ma, if something ever happens to me, that I can't be just the way I am right now, just like this, don't ever let anybody keep me alive. Don't ever let anybody keep me on machines. Don't ever let anybody do any of that to me. I said, oh, Cody, you know my feelings about end of life. You're going to be making those decisions for me, sweetheart. I'm not going to be making those for you. He said, Ma, you have to promise me. I said, I promised you. And then he said, and Mom, give everything inside me away. Everything. Now that's a little peculiar for a 22-year-old on his birthday. And it wasn't morbid. It was just matter of fact. That's how Cody was. This is what you have to do. And Cody knew of my interest and commitment to organ donation. So I thought that's where it came from. Little did I know that God was preparing me to help make the decisions that needed to be made 7 weeks later.
That was something you know intellectually, but your heart feels as though you're giving up on Cody. But knew was the right thing to do. One thing about death, when you start talking about your son's organs, you knew it was real.
Cody gave all of his solid organs and multiple tissues to many people. That's love. He gave every piece of them away. The youngest was an 18-month-old baby who had an abnormal liver from birth, and she got the tiny piece of Cody's liver. And now that 18-month-old little girl is 10. She's going to 5th grade. She does everything that Cody did when he was 10. That's a miracle. She would have been long gone. And again, he didn't need his organs in heaven.
We've got to watch Jazzy grow up. It's amazing to see a part of my brother still live through her. Bill Vance's daughter is married and has a kid now. My brother's helped Bill, see his grandkids. Blaze, my family went out to see him graduate high school. That was amazing. Seeing Cody live on through all these different people throughout the state is just truly remarkable. I want to make sure that Cody's not forgotten. The idea of the foundation started shortly after my brother passed away. This will be our 10th event, and each year we try to do a little bit more, make it a little bit better. Currently, 2 scholarship recipients at prep, 50 different families in our area getting assistance from us. We don't raise the money just to raise it. We want to give it out to those people in our community that need it, to let them focus on their recovery and not have to worry about where the finances are going to come from.
I was diagnosed with interstitial lung disease, and they said that in 6 months that I would be dead.
When I found out I was going to need a transplant, the first thing is, how long do I have to live? And that was my first question to the doctor, and the answer I got was maybe 1 to 2 years without a transplant.
On March 28th, I got the call, and he said, Keith, we found some lungs for you.
At the time that the call came, I was getting fluid tapped down at Pottsville. They stopped the procedure. My wife picked me up a half hour later. 3 hours later, I was in prep for surgery down in Baltimore. There was a lot of stuff that hit when I started feeling better, saying, there's still a road ahead. You're not done yet. And not only did you have to learn to walk, talk, eat, everything, everything just changed. The whole world was upside down. You become a new person. Yes, it's a good thing, but there's also that thing about how am I going to get through this?
A lot of times we ain't got that kind of money. The Cody Barres Foundation was the first organization that actually helped me. They helped me when I really needed the help.
You start feeling stronger, you start feeling better, you go through the physical therapy, you go through the mental therapy, and then you hit, the reality hits about the financials.
He would be thrilled that someone who otherwise could never afford to go to Scranton Prep had that opportunity, and he would be even more thrilled that we were giving money to people to help them defray the costs, the overwhelming financial costs of the whole transplant journey.
Our 10th year of doing it, and it hasn't stopped. All the money goes directly to people. There's no funding that goes anywhere else except direct to people that need the assistance. I've got to confess I was ignorant in regard to the need. We have untold stories of people that said they don't know if they could have ever gone through it because they couldn't afford the actual transportation or the hotel bills or all the other miscellaneous bills that come with it.
You had the meals, you had the hotel stays, you had the gas. When that check came in, it wasn't tons of money, but it got us through a bunch of months.
You guys have been extremely, extremely generous with us in the past, and it's allowed us to help many families in our community.
The Berets Foundation has done so much for me in the last 2 years. Just 2 years. They are the best. You know, they are the best.
The prayers were there, the tears were there, but sometimes the money wasn't there, and that's part of it. So I am eternally grateful.
I want to thank Joseph and all of Cody's friends. Many of them have careers that have taken them out of town. They have families started. They have all kinds of other obligations. It's remarkable, and it speaks tremendous about Cody, that the fact that they have that much respect from him and for him as we move on.
Our local community, you've supported us from the very beginning. You supported my family when we needed it, and then you are now supporting our foundation. Without you, there would be no 3-on-3 tournament. There would be no continued Cody's commitment. There would be no OTAP. So first and foremost, thank you. To our sponsors, you've been a huge help. Your financial donations have made all of this possible. Thank you. To our volunteers, again, you know, you're there running around behind the scenes, making sure all this works out. And the success that we've had would not be there without you. And then lastly, to Cody's friends, I can't tell you how grateful I am to have you in my life and my family's life. Your continuing to support this foundation and us makes us know that Cody's still alive, and we are continually and eternally grateful. So thank you.